There we go. A very good evening to you, and welcome to the Thursday night, the Europa League special, looking at the Rangers and Malmo game. It finished about 2 hours ago, but hey ho, we're here doing the back shift for you till 11 o'clock. And a brilliant performance tonight as well, I must have to say. But we're joined by Graham, and we are joined by our resident number one Rangers fan, um, Andy, and I'm sure you'll be happy tonight after that performance. If you've just turned in after work and you've not watched the highlights yet, well, tough, I'm going to tell you. Rangers won 2-0, and it could have been 4-0 to be honest with you tonight. They had a lot of chances in that game. Welcome to the show, guys, again. Andy, I'll get your take on it as well. What was your take on the 90 minutes tonight?
Thanks for having me on, lads. As always, appreciate coming on, getting the chance to speak about Rangers and football in general. So I appreciate that again. I take on the game. Before the game, I would have settled for a draw or a win. Just a positive result for Rangers. Malmo, they're a decent side. Tough place to go. Rangers had never won in Sweden or even against Malmo before tonight's game. So um, I know you're going to delve into the game itself, so I'll let you speak about that. But yeah, very, very good performance and obviously a great result for the club.
Yep, Graham, what was your take on the 90 minutes? Could give them 4-0, I would say.
Yeah, I was impressed with Rangers. I thought they were very, very good tonight. Very professional. Got the job done. The only thing they could say is they could have scored a lot more. I mean, that could have been easily 5 or 6 of the chances they had. Getting off to such a great start, scoring inside the first, 30 seconds. And they were, first half, they could have scored a lot more. It was such an open game. I don't really know what Mamo's game plan was. They were so open, and Rangers had so much space and so many chances. I thought Dessers led their line really well. I thought the lad that Casemiro at left back actually looked really good as well. There were so many good performances for Rangers. Second half, I thought Malmo started the game a lot better. They had a bit more of a aggression about them, but Rangers still created plenty of chances. I mean, you were kind of getting to the stage during the second half where you kind of thought if they keep missing these chances, they're going to pay for it. And eventually McCausland gets the second goal, but it was a very much deserved win. There's something about Rangers in Europa League. They just seem to know how to play these games and get results. And tonight they were very, very impressive. And, you can't really have a negative, but the only thing you would say is they could have won that game by far more because they were so comfortable.
Good evening to Liverpool. I think your team is Liverpool, might be Everton, I don't know. But it's like hi to you as well. Thanks for watching it on YouTube as well. And hopefully you enjoyed the games tonight. Andy, yeah, I mean, a lot of people would come on and say, well, Malmo's top of the league, but they were very disappointing tonight. But I thought it was a complete opposite. I thought it was a very professional performance from Rangers away from home. And I think Rangers needed that performance because of the start to the season, getting knocked out the Champions League, beat by Celtic, and everything off the park about the chairman, about Ibrox as well. And going away tonight, putting on a professional performance. Could have been 3 or 4 tonight. But no, I mean, a good night's work done by Rangers.
Yeah, Michael, I agree with all that you just said there. Most people who know me would say that I'm a glass half full when it comes to Rangers in terms of we can always do better. But, given the start of the season we've had, points dropped at Tynecastle in the first league game, gone out of the Champions League qualifiers to Dynamo Kiev, being beaten by Celtic at Celtic Park, and then the off-the-field problems, as you've said there. A lot of negativity surrounding the club from the support from the media as well towards the club. And it's a tough one to take. The start of the season we've had. especially losing the Champions League qualifier to Kiev and then the defeat the Celtic. Two massive losses there. But watching Rangers within the past 1 to 2, maybe 3 weeks, we've started to see a wee bit of a change. Is that a wee bit more of a settled team or whatever? I'm not sure what I can't really put my finger on it one exact thing, but there's guys in that team there that are starting to show a wee bit of more form, a wee bit of more consistency. The likes of Connor Barron, who's been very, very good, brilliant in fact, since he's come in the door. A young player who was 13. And from what I'm led to believe, a lot of Aberdeen fans didn't seem to rate him. I've been impressed with him. He's a big challenge on his shoulders, coming into the club as a young player. Given a lot of players went out last season, so he's done very well. Robin Proper, who was a captain in Holland for his club, I thought it was his best game of the Rangers shirt tonight. Again, he's had wee niggles and went off injured and getting used to the physicality and the way Rangers play or the way the league is in Scotland. I thought that was his best game tonight. No player performed poorly tonight, but I thought everybody managed the game well, right from Clement putting his team, the game plan out towards the team and the way the team went about their efforts, especially so in the first half.
I think that was the most quietest game I've seen Jack Butland in them.
Yeah, it was mentioned during the commentary. You're expecting, to be fair, I actually thought the atmosphere tonight sounded really good on the TV. The Malmo fans didn't stop singing the whole game, even though their team gave him nothing to really cheer about. But yeah, he was very quiet. He had nothing to do. Like I said, I thought Malmo started the second half better without really creating too much. But you kind of thought, like I said, the amount of chances Rangers were passing up, you thought they're going to get a chance eventually, but it didn't really happen. So yeah, I thought Butland was probably one of the most quietest nights he'll ever have, to be honest, in Europe. They do have harder games to come in Europe, of course they do, but I think it was important they got a win in their first game, and to do it away from home against a really decent Malmo side was very, very impressive. I know that Andy said you can't really kind of pinpoint anybody because we're all great tonight, but I have to point out, I thought Mo Diamande was outstanding tonight. I don't think he lost a tackle. He was getting forward. He was defending really well. He won a couple of really...
Should get scored, Graham.
Yeah, he was book teller on the game as well. I know that the commentary team thought it was Tavernier, but it wasn't. But I genuinely thought Mo Diamande was absolutely superb tonight.
And I want to speak to you about City Odessa's, right? Because obviously when you're on the show on a Friday, we speak about the other games. And believe you me, Graham, Andy was happy to come on the show tonight because he said, "Oh, I'm never speaking about Rangers. I can't believe it. My dreams has came through." Well, unfortunately, Andy, the show's going to finish at 10:20. No, I'm on the kidding. But City Odessa's right. It must frustrate you as a Rangers fan. But another, when you look at him, you must say, well, he puts in a lot of effort, that guy, to the game, because yet again, he could have scored 2 or 3 tonight.
What can you say about the big lad? He's come in. He came in last season, early doors. Something struck me about him, and I thought, this guy will do all right, but again, he'll frustrate you as well, and that's the way he's been so far. As a striker, you're judged on your goals, the goals you score, and if you're not scoring goals, people are going to slate you, and if you are, people are going to love you. But he scores goals. Does he score enough goals with the chances he's created himself or has been put on to his plate? Possibly not, but I always maintain and I always say to fellow Rangers supporters or people who are slating the guy, if Dessers isn't in that team or if he's injured or suspended, who else steps up to the plate? Because last season there wasn't anybody striker-wise that done enough. And it's the exact same this season. The one, just going off point for a couple of seconds here, the one massive frustration I have over tonight, as great as tonight's been and good result and chances and all the rest of it, you're talking about strikers. the next striker down from Dessers is Hamza Igamani. The guy couldn't even get into the country. Something to do with his passport. We signed him during the summer, and there's something as silly as there as keeping him out of a European game and a potential European debut for the club. So that's my only frustration over the game or the thing tonight. But in terms of Dessers, he'll miss chances, but what striker won't? When Ali McCoy came to the club, he wasn't scoring all the time. It took a while for the fans to get on for to support him. Mark Haitley as well. Other strikers, a lot of other strikers in the world. But the one thing I love about the big man is he never hides. His work rate off the ball or on the ball has both improved over the summer, which is a big thing for a striker. So yes, he may not score, but the work he does for the team as well. And again, Rangers fans, myself included, are very, very fickle. It's just due to the history of the club and the demands of the success and stuff like that there. But we want everybody to do well. And obviously, if they're not, you are a bit frustrated. But I think I like him. I think he is a good player. I think he has a lot to offer to the team. So, should gonna go back myself a bit here, leading the line, especially away from home in Europe.
Graham, what's your take on Dessers? Because we've spoke about him on the show quite a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because I think he does do a lot of good stuff. He works really hard. He's a physical presence. He is that somebody up top that Rangers do need. He causes defenders a lot of problems like he did tonight. I think the thing probably Rangers fans think, and again, I'm not a Rangers fan, but I think I've heard a lot of folks say it as well. Yes, he does score goals. I think he got 7 this season. But I think the one thing I would say about Dessers is the big games he doesn't score. Like against Celtic or the bigger games like cup finals and semi-finals. That's where you need a guy like Cyril Dessers to score goals. And I think that's where he lets himself down. But apart from that, I mean, he's had a really good start to the season. He's had a better start to the season than Lauren Shankler's has for us. But he's had a very good start to the season. He was excellent again tonight. He led the line fantastically well. He's a bit unlucky with the goal, the first goal, because he obviously tries to do it himself and it has the post. But thankfully it comes out and Barami scores. But he does give you that presence that I think Rangers really do need. And like Andy said, if you take him out of the team, who else is going to score goals? Who else is going to lead the line? You don't have anybody else. So I think he is doing very well. But I think when it comes to Dessers, it's the big games. He needs to score more goals in the big games. Because he, like Andy said, he does miss a lot of chances. But every striker does. But he needs to, in these bigger games, and especially against teams like Celtic, he has to start scoring. Because that's what he's going to be judged on as well.
Of course, they had the goal from Barami, but I mean, watching the game, Andy, Rangers Skakig in the front foot.
Yeah, something we haven't seen this season or well enough this season. The high intensity press from Rangers, and I think that's how you play against the majority of teams in Scotland. You're not going to get away with that all the time in Europe. I also think that's how you possibly play at times in Celtic, which we did do to a certain degree in the game in September, and then Celtic sort of just took control of the game. But starting off very, very well. We come out of the traps or come out of the smoke, if you want to put it, given the amount of flowers. And that wasn't from Abba's fans' trousers anyway. But, Dessers, great chance. Unfortunate not to score, but, luck was on his side and Barami was there to put the ball into the net. And, a great, wonderful start for the team. But the press, I was very impressed by Rangers' pressure on Malmo. And Malmo, they were a very good side tonight. I thought I was impressed by them. Played some good football, created chances. Just unfortunately, they didn't have sort of enough threat in and around the box to sort of threaten Jack Butland. I thought, on the other hand, Rangers' defence coped well with the pressure that Malmo did put upon Rangers.
I think if you were you are a Rangers fan, Andy, I think maybe your only criticism would be what's that performance tonight. Where has that level of performance been all season, albeit only what 6 games into the season, but I mean we've never saw what I would say a complete 90-minute performance by Rangers, and I think that was it tonight.
Yeah, is it the thing that Clement has had to not build a full new team, but there's been players left and players moved on in the summer, and he's had to bring in more new players and get the gel with some of the current players that's still there, and get used to the system that the manager wants to play and all the rest of that there. So it has taken a while, but again, you don't get time as a manager, you don't get time as a player or a team, given, as I say, the demands of the club and from the support. But I really hope we've turned the corner and we are seeing a sign that this is a settled Rangers and we'll go on a run of winning games and hopefully being successful this season. But football, as we all know, is a funny game, as they say, because it can change tomorrow. The amount of chances we created tonight, we should have and could have won by 4 or 5, and that wouldn't have been, and we wouldn't have looked out of place there tonight, given that was if that had been the scoreline, because we very much deserved that. But given the chances we did create, and it was saves or we put wide or whatever, I was thinking to myself, 1-0, we're going to rue these chances, we'll regret this. Malmo equalise or go on to win the game, you're not finishing the chances. But I suppose we got away with that one sort of thing, but in that aspect. But I thought we were very, very good tonight. As I say, maybe I'm a glass half full man. There's always room for improvement. Of course there is with any team or after any result of performance. But I'd have took 2-0, I'd have took 1-0, or even a 0-0 I would have took before the game. But I was very impressed with the team. And as good as that is, we need to push on to Sunday, which is a tricky game against Hibs at Ibrox.
Andy, see, before the game, obviously the team line was announced. There was a lot of talk about maybe Dujon Sterling might come in, but it was Casemiro that came in. Mm-hmm. Firstly, did that surprise you? And secondly, how did you think Casemiro played? Because I thought he played very well.
Did it surprise me? Probably, yes. I thought Sterling would have started. I didn't think I thought if he had started, he wouldn't have seen the 90 minutes out, just due to lack of games, and his fitness looks a wee bit, he looks a bit leggy or something this season so far. But Casemiro done very, very well tonight. Done him a lot of favours with a shout for the left back position, challenging Yefty. But I seen him last week at the weekend there against Dundee in the 10-minute, 15-minute spell he got or whatever, and thought, oh, he looks all right, but he done himself a lot of favours tonight. Nothing special. Done the basic things. As football's a basic game, you do the basics, and you're gonna do well for yourself. So, yeah, he played well tonight.
I think I don't know. I think you would probably be better placed to tell me and Graham about this, but when we talk about Rangers, we talk about Dessers, we talk about even Proctor and Suter as well. One man that did, well, maybe I'm wrong, and I don't know if I'm wrong in saying this, but one man that really doesn't get a mention, and I think he's a decent player for Rangers, is Tom Rollins.
He is. He's a decent player. I agree with you there, Michael. Similar, and I go back to Graham's point on Dessers about maybe not doing enough in the so-called bigger games. Scored a lot of goals. If I'm right, he possibly scored more goals in the league at least than Kyogo last season. Mm-hmm. But again, Kyogo is scoring goals in the bigger games against Rangers or in Europe, so he gets the praises from Celtic fans and other football fans. Dessers doesn't really do that, but Chris Boyd was like that. Didn't really. I think he scored once against Celtic in his Rangers career, and scored plenty against other teams. So yeah, you're always going to be judged on the bigger games, aren't you, at Rangers? But Tom Lawrence, I think he is a good player. I think he's just needed a bit of consistency around the team. And that's similar to quite a couple of other players, even the likes of John Suter, who's had his injury problems. Even Lawrence has had his injury problems, but a run on the team, a run of fitness, and a wee bit of good form, where your team's winning games, you're doing well, and it gets the momentum going. So I thought he was a wee bit quiet tonight, but again, not that the game passed him by, but didn't get as much possession or chances in front of goal as he usually would. But he didn't have a bad game, But I do like the Luca Lawrence when he's on his game and when he's fully fit, that he will do a job and can offer things for the team.
Graham, how important, I know we touched upon this earlier, but how important was it for Rangers to get off the map tonight? Because I'm just looking, they play Leon at home, that's first game at 8 o'clock, and then they're at home again against FC. I'm trying to do this without my specs on here. FCSB, yeah. So two games at home.
Yeah, I think it's important that Rangers got off to a decent start. Even if they got a draw tonight, it's not a disaster because going away at Swedish Tides is not easy. But to get off to such a good start and to actually play well as well, it's not that they were fortunate. They played really well and should have won the game by more. And I heard a lot of folks say, I think I heard on the radio after the game, them talking about like getting the weakest team out the way first. I think it's harsh to say that Malmo are weak because I think they're a good side, but Rangers just played very well tonight. And I think they do have bigger fixtures to come. Leon at home is not going to be easy. They're a very, very good side. And they've got very tricky games to come. Now, I wasn't on, obviously, last week when Andy was on, so I've not had a chance to ask him this. But, I mean, in terms of that group, Andy, you've got Man United and Tottenham in that group. I don't think Man United are any great shakes. I've not been impressed with them at all so far this season. And I'm not that impressed with Erik ten Hag. And Tottenham have been struggling a little bit under Postecoglou. I mean, what do you make of the group that you're in? Because I've not had a chance to ask you this yet. It's two very big games against Tottenham and Man United. How are you feeling about those games? Because they're going to be massive.
Yeah, when the draw was made and the teams come out, you're sort of thinking, oh, wow, two massive games there. Not what you wanted, but two glamour ties, if you want to call it that. There, as you say, Spurs and Man United both, with no disrespect, they're no great shakes in England or in Europe at the moment. Obviously a far better quality side than Rangers on the pitch, and a lot more money to spend and attract much better players than Rangers have or ever will. But them games are a long way away. I think it's maybe both in January or December and January, but there's a lot of football to be played between now and then. Man United obviously drew last night with FC20, with ex-Rangers player Sam Lammers actually scoring against them. Spurs lost to Seymour were winning 1-0 and down to 10 men. But they'll pose big threats to the Rangers, and there'll be two interesting games, whether I watch them behind the sofa or see what happens there. But no, I'm looking forward to it because, as I said, they're two big games. Spurs at Ibrox, Man United at Old Trafford. So let's go and give a good account of ourselves when the games come around. But I'd say the other games there, Leon, as you mentioned, it's the next game at Ibrox. Be tricky a game. Leon are a very good side. And if I'm correct, they beat us at Ibrox the last time we played them as well. So yeah, and we've obviously league games in between that as well. But no, it'll be a challenging group or table, whatever you're calling the format this year. But no, I'm looking forward to it as well.
How important is it, Andy, for you to be back at Ibrox? Because I genuinely didn't think Hampden was what nobody wanted to play at Hampden. Let's be honest, Rangers fans wanted to be back at Ibrox. How important is it that you've actually got back at Ibrox now? And that, the fans, especially for the Leon game, they'll be really up for this. So how important is it that you're back at Ibrox and not still playing at Hampden?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people were happy with the situation with Hampden or go to Hampden, but the situation was what it was. We're now back at Ibrox from last week, albeit not a full capacity, but it's great to be back home as such and playing our games at Ibrox under bigger crowds or more vocal crowds or whatever you want to look at it that way. But great to be back at Ibrox, and maybe the players will be more suited, the fans will be more suited and stuff like that. But in my opinion, on that, and I was at Hampton for the few games that there was, regardless of where Rangers play, you support the team, you get behind the team, and you want the team to do well, and that will always be the case. But yeah, I think it's just been confirmed earlier this evening that it'll be a full capacity for the Hibernian game at Ibrox on Sunday. So yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere, no doubt. And as well, the Leon game being the first game back at Ibrox for a European game.
So, just to looking at the team that you've got and in the group, it reminds you of a Champions League group because you've got Leon and you've got FC Twente, you've got Malmo, Man United and Tottenham. Incidentally, you've got Tottenham on the 12th of December before Santa comes, and then you're going down to Manchester to see Coronation Street or Manchester United against Rangers on the 23rd. Andy, I was going to say that you mentioned a point earlier on, and me and Graham and the guys always speak about this on the show week in, week out, about the gulf between maybe just for talking sake, Celtic, Rangers and the rest of the teams like Hearts and Hibs and all that. But in terms of like Rangers going up against Tottenham, Rangers going up against Man United, yes, there's a bit of goal. There's a massive gap there in terms of the financial side of things as well. But I mean, do you take heart because it's a one-off game and anything could happen? I mean, I remember back to Celtic playing Man City at Parkhead a couple of seasons ago. Celtic nearly beat Man City at Ibrox at Parkhead, and I think that the game finished 3 each in that game actually. So do you take confidence because it's a kind of one-off game? I mean, that would be a bit more different if you were playing them week in, week out. But if it's a one-off game, anything could happen.
To be honest, Michael, just given as you say, the gulf and class and financial gap and stuff like that, there, when the draw came out, you sort of, you fear the worst. I fully expect both Spurs and Man United, to come and give us a real hammering. But as you say, it's a one-off game. Anything can happen in football, as we know. But a one-off game, we go against Spurs, Man United, and any team, and give it a big performance, especially the two of them games, because that's what everybody's eyes will be on them two games. It is possibly, if you want to call it, like a Champions League group when the draw was made. I've seen people say, even Rangers fans say, "Oh, we got a harder draw than Celtic." Well, possibly so, but that's because Celtic are in the higher competition. But Celtic do have a very tough group or table themselves, and even on the other hand, there Celtic going to Villa Park. Villa are a very good side, and as I say, much better equipped financially than Celtic, or I would say so anyway. They'll give a good account of themselves there as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the games, and I would love to get a win or get wins against them two sides, just to sort of, say, well, it's not just Scottish football. We're not to be looked down on and stuff like that there. So, because as you know, the English media will want to have a field day with the games when they come around and stuff. But as it's been proven in the past, you mentioned the City game at Parkhead. Celtic didn't disgrace themselves. They've went and beat Man United at Parkhead. They've had other victories in even Liverpool, Blackburn, and the UEFA Cup run. And Rangers have beat English sides before as well, the biggest being knocking the English champions Leeds out when it was a walk in the park, so-called, for Leeds from the English media. So, listen, who knows what can happen.
I remember that Rangers Leeds game. That was a 2-0 win at Elland Road. I think with Costin Haley scored. 1992, was it?
Yeah.
It was 2-1. It was 2-1 at Ibrox and 2-1. I'm near sure Cantona scored towards the end of Elland Road, but English champions, and a great side that Leeds were, and it was only a case of turning up. And actually, Gary McAllister scored early doors and quietened Ibrox that night, and then we went down the road to Leeds and them back in their box.
I mean, that was properly billed as Battle of Britain. That I remember. I remember the hype around that game.
Yeah,
And
I was only young then, but obviously hearing the stories and seeing the videos and everything else to go and do that there. And if I'm correct, we beat Leeds during the week and then went to Parkhead and won 1-0 against Celtic with an Angel Ant winner. So that was a fantastic, my favourite Rangers side back then growing up. Obviously, great times, and good times don't always last, as we know. But yeah, great times, especially beating any English team. It's always a sort of two-finger salute, isn't it?
there we go. So Robbie Collins is watching the show on YouTube. Hope you're well, mate. He said that he said, "Hi guys, big win for Rangers tonight." It sends out a real message for them, and yeah, I suppose it does, but also sends out a message to the whole of, as I say, as you were saying, the English football, to say, Celtics had a big win last week, and Rangers went away from home and had a big win as well, and it could have been more.
Yeah, it could well have been. And see, as I watch English football, a lot of people do, as we all do. I don't support any English teams, but this thing about English football and obviously the financial gap is the main thing between English football and Scottish football. But even the likes of Hearts, I think, played Spurs recently in Europe, was it? Or I know they did play Liverpool before in Europe, but you know, it's the sort of looking down their nose at Scottish football or Scottish clubs. If Rangers and Rangers and Celtic have a bigger wage budget and money to spend than most other teams in Scotland, but if we had the money in Scotland that even the likes of excuse me, English Championship teams have, we'd be doing all right. We hold our own. We have held our own in Europe against big teams. Before, we were unfortunate not to win the Europa League final a couple of seasons ago, but um, we do not too bad for ourselves in Europe. But obviously the bread and butter is domestically, and we've been quite poor in recent seasons.
And so Rangers got the second goal, a brilliant super sub, you would say, for Rangers. McCausland came on, a fellow Northern Irishman as well. Andy, you must have been delighted to see him coming on the park and getting. It was a brilliant goal he scored as well.
Yeah, thought Cherney was sort of tiring a bit. We needed to change it up, and I thought McCausland came on and brought a lot to the game. Yeah, not just attacking wise, defensively as well, helping Tavernier out on the right hand side. The goal came about with a free kick forward, and Dessers sort of tries to win the ball, knocks it down, or it's knocked down. Excuse me. But a lot of wingers or a lot of players would just sort of walk their way into that area. McCausland seen what was happening, got in quick, had his shirt being pulled, and battled through and got the shot away and finished it nicely. So I was very pleased for him to score the goal, and obviously well deserved for the team as well.
Would you not want to see McCausland kind of start some games, because am I right in saying that he's not started this season for Rangers?
I think you're right there, Michael. You could be right. McCausland's a tricky one. I think he's a decent player, but I think he's a lot to learn. And I know he's not really young, but he's still young. But again, you don't get time at Rangers, as I've said before. But I think when he first came through, he sort of looked a bit fearless. I think he's sort of, and has it been a suggestion from the manager to be a wee bit more reserved or whatever? I don't know, but he sort of looked a wee bit. He's less direct. He was going at players and getting to the byline and crossing the ball and stuff. But I think still a lot to prove in the team and to get a starting place as well.
Yeah, because am I right not saying that Rangers gave him a deal? Was it last season or the season before when they scored a goal in Europe? And I think it was the day after, like you think a new deal for Rangers.
Yeah, he did sign a new deal. He scored against Limassol in the Europa League last season. As I say, he started off well when he committed through to the first team. Firstly under Van Bronckhorst, we got a wee chance, and then under interim manager Steve Davis. So I think there is a future for him, but he does need to prove it when he gets the chance. So he does.
Yeah. Graham, what about you? I mean, it's good to see. All right, he's not Scottish, but it's good to see McCausland coming through and getting a goal tonight.
Yeah, and it was a really good goal. As Andy says, it was a very good finish. He's getting pulled back as well. He does very well to finish it. He is a good player. You know, he's a winger that likes to take his man on, and you don't see a lot of that in Scottish football these days, or anywhere really. You know, I love to see wingers actually taking people on, and he does do that. And he's got an end product, which a lot of wingers don't have. He does have that, and he's still young. You know, he will get better, he will improve, but he's a very good option for Rangers. And I thought when he came off the bench today, he did give them that bit of directness. Czerny was definitely tiring. I actually thought Czerny was decent today, to be honest. He's a lot quicker than I thought he was. But yeah, McCausland definitely gives him a threat. And he'll be pushing to get in the starting lineup. You know, Rangers do have options there, but I think he's definitely going to be one that's pushing to get in the starting lineup because he definitely does add something when he plays.
One man kind of when I was talking about Dessers there to Andy, one of the men kind of maybe I don't know how he missed that chance actually, but he's a decent player. I think as Demonde as well.
Yeah, I said it before. I was really impressed with him. He covered every blade of the grass. He was superb tonight. I think probably he got man of the match for me. I think he was absolutely standing. But it wasn't just him that missed a couple of good chances. With a couple of chances in the first half as well. I think it was one late in the first half where Dessers played Barami in, and I think Barami's got to shoot, and he doesn't take the shot on, and that was a constant theme in the second half as well. That Rangers had chance after chance, and you just kind of thought they're going to pay for this, and then McCausland does what he does, and like I said, it's a great goal. But I thought Diamande was superb tonight. He's turning a very good play for Rangers. They've got a decent midfield now, you know, with like Sir Lawrence, Diamande, Connor Barron, and Andy's right. I think a lot of Aberdeen fans didn't rate him, but he's turned into a very, very good player. Rangers have got a lot of depth in that midfield now. And again, tonight, like I said, it's a decent Malmo side. And Rangers went there and they were a far better team. There was no luck about it. There was no fluky about it. They deserved to win the game tonight. And it should have been more. But I honestly thought Diamande was superb tonight.
Yeah, Connor Barron, Andy talked to me about him because I think he's actually got settled into that Rangers side. I mean, if you watched him tonight, you would swear that he's been there for a few seasons.
I would agree with you, mate. I've seen Barron before quite a few times for Aberdeen, and I thought he looked, decent enough. And he is I thought he was a decent player for Aberdeen. He didn't get quite a lot of games, but when he did get the chance, I thought he'd done all right. As you've said there, he doesn't look out of place in that Rangers midfield. He's a young player making the move from Aberdeen. So it's a big ask for him to come into that team, given the players that had the shirt before him and stuff like that there. So I think he is a good player. He's still young, as I say. He's a lot to learn. But no, he's doing very, very well. The only game I can sort of point the finger at him for and not blame him, but sort of pass him by, and you could look at 8 or 9 other players that day was the game against Celtic, but who wasn't sort of showing up or went missing or didn't really give enough that day in a Rangers shirt, so but no, I'm impressed with him. He's not a player who's going to go and take the ball on a run and have a goal or whatever, score goals. He's a player that'll do a lot of dirty work. And I've actually said it to a few Rangers fans myself I would have loved to seen him and a fit Ryan Jack in that Rangers team together, because I think that would be a great holding midfield duo for Rangers, and that would have offered quite a lot. But obviously that can't happen. But I think Barron has a bright future ahead of him, both at Rangers, potentially within the Scotland setup, and who knows if he does get a move elsewhere in the future.
And I just wanted to talk to you about before we come back to the game tonight. Philip Clement's press conference yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. And the name escapes me, but one of the team that he's looking at. But one of the members of the media can ask him that question. And usually when people ask you that question, the manager said, no, I'm quite happy here and all that kind of stuff. But he wanted to speak about it, and like you actually heard the guy asking the question, like, oh, are you? Like he caught him up. He was a bit surprised that Clement answered that question, but obviously Clement said, no, I'm happy to be here. But are you a bit were you a bit shocked when they said no? I'll answer that question.
I actually didn't see the press conference yesterday, so I can't fully answer your question, Michael. Apologies, but I think Clement is a very sensible guy, and you have to be, I suppose, in terms of dealing with the media, especially in football nowadays. So it's good that he sort of didn't pass the question on, as is the easy option to do. A lot of people would do that, but fair play to him for taking the time and wanting to give an answer and his reason for that. As I say, I haven't seen it, so I'll watch it and find out. But he's not going to be around at Rangers forever. He'll move on eventually, and hopefully as a successful manager at the club. But I think he will go on to move to a different team at some point. We've just got to get the most out of him as a manager whilst he's here. That goes with other guys who have been in charge at Rangers before. Prime example, Steven Gerrard, when you there's a big name, and he done well at the club, but he was always going to go elsewhere at some point. So nothing lasts forever, but obviously the media guys asked him the question, and he's been honest enough to answer it. I do think he's happy enough at Rangers at the moment. I think he's doing well to a certain degree. As I say, players or managers can always do better, so there's room for improvement. But he's the man at the helm at the minute. He has to do well to earn success, and he has to get the most out of the players he's got. So yeah, he's done well so far, especially tonight. Going to Sweden, first win for Rangers in Sweden, and also against Malmo. So I thought he'd set out his team well.
Andy, I was just going to say, it was only a few weeks ago that obviously we saw the Rangers fans after the game against Celtic, James Tavernier getting confronted by the fan, which I thought was outrageous, to be honest. I've said it before. I don't really get the stick that Tavernier gets. But now, fast forward a few weeks' time, you've started to look a lot better. You've now got a massive result tonight. You said it yourself. We all are. Fans are fickle. Like, I wanted Stephen Naismith out. He's now gone. But I suppose you be careful what you wish for. From where you were a few weeks ago in Celtic to now, there has been a big improvement. But now it's about building on that and making sure that keeps going. Because tonight's a massive win. On the road against Malmo. But you've now got to carry that on for the rest of the season.
Absolutely, Graham. Very good points there. Football, as you say, football fans, regardless of what team you support. You've got to carry it on. Given the start of the season we had, it wasn't the best, and the big one there is the Celtic result. So a lot of people were disappointed with that, and rightfully so. I was on the show on Friday, and it was mentioned before about the Tavernier abuse and stuff like that. I did give my views on that, and my views basically were that it shouldn't have happened. And the main reason it shouldn't have happened was because I think personally, whoever made that decision for the Rangers players to go out in public or across the road to go into their cars after the game and given the manner of the game, who the game was against and the result, shouldn't have happened from a higher level. It did happen. No player should get that level of abuse, personal abuse, in my opinion, and that's coming. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't expect anybody to do that to me in my workplace. Tavernier does not go out in any game to say, I'm not trying or I'm not going to play well. Of course, he wants to do well. He's the Rangers captain. So, again, in my opinion, I think a lot of the negativity is going to be directed his way because he's the so-called leader. But you don't have to wear a captain's armband to be a leader in any job or any team. Everybody can stand up and pull their sleeves up and say, right, let's go. And you've got to answer the questions in the good times, but also in the bad times as well. So he done well tonight. He done very well tonight and part of a team, but also individually. Thought he done well. At times he will be caught out, but again, that's defenders nowadays. You know, it's all about being fast and getting back into position. It's not all about defending and hitting tackles or hard tackles every 2 minutes. It's football's changed as we know. So yeah, he'll make mistakes. He has made mistakes. He'll make more mistakes, but who won't? In a Rangers team or a football team, everybody makes mistakes, and that's myself included in my own job. But you have to find ways of improving and learning, and that's what I think Tavernier has done and will hopefully do if the mistakes are to come about again.
I was just going to say, Andy, and I hope you know where I'm coming from here, but when Philip Clement came in, it wasn't basically his team, even though everybody was playing for him. But if you look at that team tonight, apart from maybe Tavernier, there's not really anyone else in that team was under, Michael Beale or whatever. So would you say that was a Philip Clement's kind of team? I know that sounds a bit daft me saying that, but when a new manager comes in, they don't really go on with the manager and they're just there for the money, basically, But looking at that team tonight, would you say that was a Clement team?
Yeah, Michael, you're not far off on your point. Obviously, there's a couple more there, bottom Dessers, and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it was a Clement team there tonight. It was a sort of he put a stamp on that team tonight. As in setting the team up to play in a certain way, go out with a high press, try and contain the pressure for the Malmo will pose a threat down the wings and stuff like that. There, so you could probably say, yeah, that was Clement's probably one of his best games, as a Rangers manager, and it's a chance to sort of prove himself in the European stage with Rangers as well. So is there signs, and I'm not getting too excited, no Rangers fans should be getting too excited. Great result, yes. But is there signs of Rangers returning the corner under Philippe Clement after tonight or in the past few games? Hopefully that is the case. But we'll have to wait and see.
I think moving back to Ibrox would help as well, Andy.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sunday will be big. In terms of the atmosphere, the crowd will be up for it. A game against Hibs. Games against Hibs are always tasty. Hibs coming to Ibrox again under a new manager and an ex-player will want to prove themselves to the manager, but also prove themselves to their fans and look to cause. You could say an upset, but look to cause a defeat for Rangers, and I think they'll be well up for it because Hibs usually are when the two teams play together, and Rangers will need to be up for it as well and match that as well.
Andy, I know we talked about a few players earlier, but can I ask you about Cherny? I thought he looked good tonight. I know you said that he tired late on, which was when McCausland came on. He's a lot quicker than I thought he was, than I gave him credit for. What have you made of him so far? Because he has looked pretty decent from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, Graham. I think he can offer width, obviously out in the wing. He does have a lot of energy, and that's going forward, but also coming back, and he's not one to sort of, he likes to be involved, and he can put his foot in as well, which you do need. You do need a bit of fight, and you don't see that from your so-called forward players a lot these days. But my only concern or criticism with Cherney is, and that again it comes with the style of football the teams play now, the modern day game. He always wants to cut in onto his left foot, but to me, he needs to do that. If he's going to do that, he needs to do it a lot quicker. And why not take the full back down the line and get a corner out of it or get a cross in on your weaker foot, because you may get a chance of a deflection or whatever it may be off something. But I think he's done well so far this season. He's still, again, and similar to Barami on the other side, he will still need minutes in the legs and getting used to playing in Scotland and European level with Rangers as well. So, yeah, I think he's done well since he's come in. A lot still to improve on, but that goes with a lot of players in that team.
Giving to Mr. Regan Stevens. He's just jumped in tonight. So what do you make of tonight's game, Regan?
I thought Rangers played the better feeling for a long time. I was just hearing what you guys were saying there. I think that could be the turning point for Lee Camonte. I really do. I think he's obviously there's been a bit of trouble with the stadium and not getting the players in he wanted. Obviously people like Hadji, Todd Cantwell, people like that getting out of the club and stuff like that. So I think now everything seems to be all right. Everything seems to settle down with the stadium. But I wanted to say, Andy, what an impact for the new player. I think it took him 56 seconds, Andy. I mean, what a start for him to his Rangers career.
Yeah, good to hear from you, mate. A very, very good start from Rangers, but also Nedim Barami as well. You know, great way to introduce yourself to the club on the European stage.
Aye.
I know he's played domestically a couple of times, but yeah, what a way to start your Rangers career, I suppose.
Aye, and the other big thing from me that I thought Rangers really dominated the match, and I think that's fair play to the players, because I don't know if you guys agree, but I think because of the fixtures the Rangers have got, this was a kind of must win. And then when you kind of watch the game for the first 45 minutes, you felt like Rangers need to get that second goal to really stamp the authority in the game, and that's what they did. And they'll be happy as somebody for another round as well. So no, it's a good all round night for Rangers. So aye.
I think as well, Andy, I don't know if you've been on when me and Graham and Reagan and the rest of the guys that spoke about this as well. And I mentioned it early on in the show that Rangers hasn't really put a kind of decent 90-minute performance in for a long while. Even under kind of Michael Beale, you know, Van Bronckhorst go back when you will. But I think, like, watching that performance tonight, I think Rangers played well for, I think it was 94 minutes.
Yeah, I think you're right, Michael. Under previous managers, we haven't really been dominating games, for the majority of the games. We've been sort of in and out of games a lot, and even games that we've went and won 3 or 4, whatever it may be, there's sort of you've drifted in and out of games or whatever, and that may sound stupid, but it has been the case at times. But tonight sort of looked, I'm no disrespect to Malmo, because they did create chances, they did up the pitch, and from what I heard during the commentary with the commentators, it's sort of they're a possession-based team. I thought they did play well, but Rangers I thought were very, very good tonight. And as I said, not getting too excited. It's one game. Things can change or things can get better. But we were very good tonight. Can I just raise a point? I don't know if you guys all agree. What was your thoughts on possible penalty shouts for Rangers tonight? There maybe could have been 1 or 2, like the grappling in the box or the shirt pulling and stuff. But it was mentioned in commentary. But I don't know if they got looked at with VAR or they didn't spend very long. And I know there's the thing of penalty the Rangers, as to speak, but I did think we should have had 1 or 2 tonight.
Do you know what's funny? I was actually just sitting here thinking to myself, actually, it was quite refreshing to have no controversial incidents tonight. And then you've just gone and mentioned that, and I completely forgot about it. There was a couple in the first half, like on Dessers, and we know these things happen in the box. You know, it's called the dark arts. It does happen. I would assume that VAR would have looked at it because they look at everything, as we know, but they've obviously thought, nah, there's nothing in it. It was very hard to tell on like replays, but I generally thought tonight it was actually quite refreshing. There was no controversial incidents, and then you mentioned that.
Yeah, well, who likes a quiet night?
That's why he's part of the team, Graham. You settled in very nicely to the team, by the way. You know that's where you start the shows as well. But yeah, there was a few in the first half, but the cameras were so high up, but they never showed you the one behind the goal. And I did think the VR, if they checked it, they must have spent about 2 seconds on it or whatever. But I don't think it was even checked, Andy, to be honest with you, because if it was checked, they would have, you would get heard about it on TV.
Maybe not, but I just wanted to raise the point, and it just sort of, I thought at least there was one incident. I think it might have been on, if it was Dessers or Proper, I can't remember. But I thought there was definitely at least one. But listen, obviously it didn't matter in the end, and won the game.
It is frustrating because you see every week, especially at set pieces, you see so much grappling in the box, and it goes unpunished. It happens every single week.
Yeah.
Before we finish up, I want to say that Celtic was in Champions League action. No, I'm not out of the hospital and I lost my marbles and all that. But yeah, the women's team was in European action and they beat Viola. I've been practicing that name for maybe about 5 hours now. Celtic won 2-0, 3-0 on aggregate, and Celtic are the first Scottish side to qualify for the Women's Champions League since the introduction of the Champions League 2021. Regan, how important is it for Scottish football, but also as a Celtic fan, to see that?
I think it's very important for Scottish football, Michael, to show that the standards obviously improving for Scottish football as well, that these females can really aspire to achieve. I did put on the TV and see there was a decent crowd there as well, so hopefully that is a springboard for Celtic and Rangers to qualify more often and bring more revenue and more eyes into ladies football. I mean, it's a great thing because the Celtic coach, she came in last season and she won the title, and now she's qualified for the Champions League. So all the Celtic fans that went along there tonight will be pretty happy. But yeah, I'm just it seems as if we've got a really competitive league, and hopefully, if more people can get involved in it, then that's a great thing for Scottish football.
I can't wait till Eva All takes Hearts into the Champions League. Like, it's gonna happen.
There we go, Graham. You've only got a week to go, and you'll be talking about Hearts victory, hopefully in the Conference League.
Hope so. I've waited long enough.
Well, right enough, you've got a big game at the weekend. You need to win that first as well. Talking about Saturday, we'll be back tomorrow and Sunday. Busy week next week. We'll be on both nights, Tuesday and Thursday night for Celtic and Rangers. Celtic in the Champions League on Tuesday, and Rangers and Hearts in Europe on Thursday. My thanks as always to Graham, Regan, and the one and only Andy. And we'll see you soon here on the Locker Room.
Following Rangers and Hearts in Europe with all